right, so our next step is going to be removing this differential cover. In order to do that, you're going to have to drop this sway bar. You're going to have to drop the panhard bar, get both of those out of the way, and then go around and loosen each bolt, and then crack it open and catch your fluid. Right, so now that you've got your diff cover off, you're going to remove that bolt right there using an 8mm. Once you remove that bolt, it's going to allow you to remove this pin right here. And once we get that pin out, we'll get the C-clips out. All right, so I'm not going to be replacing the seals inside of this differential and rear end, so I'm going to be very gentle on removing the axle to make sure I don't damage any seals. Trying to keep it centered up in the tube. Get it out of there. All right, so with the axles removed, I went ahead and reinstalled this pin that goes through the center of the spider gears to make sure that they didn't wander out of there. I just wanted them to stay in place. And I removed this bar coming down that was in front of the differential cover. Dropped the sway bar, dropped the panhard bar, got all that stuff out of the way. And now I'm going to use a 19mm and loosen these caps up. And once I loosen those caps up, I'm going to make sure I keep track of what shims go where, because there's going to be a certain thickness on this side and a certain thickness on that side. Go ahead and let y'all see what that Magna talking about. That Magna power, baby. But yeah, we got big Mustang shit going on. You know what I'm saying? Fox body getting worked on. Don't worry about that. We got stuff, big stuff in the works for it. Coyote getting worked on. Got the angle kit on there, coilovers on there, handbrake fixing to be on there. You know what I'm saying? Don't play with me. Differential finna be welded, brackets on there. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know how we do out here. Y'all know what's up. Stout, son. Bullet holes. Got the 90s Baja rack on it. What I tell you? Solid axle, son. Custom bumper. 10,000 pound winch. 9,000 pound winch. My fault. Hey, y'all know what's up. This thing ain't getting stuck. Pull you out of any hole you get stuck in. It'll dig out any rut you put it through. Promise you. All right, folks. So we're putting the ring gear back onto the differential. And whenever you're tightening this ring gear back up, you're going to want to make sure there's no burrs or welding slag on either surface. You're going to clean each surface, this part that mates up right here, clean them very well, make sure they're perfectly flat, because any type of burr will cause the ring gear to sit off center, and it'll cause it to wear out unevenly, and that's not what you want. So yep, I'm tightening them down in a crosshatch pattern. I put in the first few without Loctite, but these bolts do need red Loctite to keep them from backing out. High temperature red Loctite. And now that I have it seated up, have both surfaces seating up flush, I'm gonna take out the bolts that I didn't put Loctite on and reinstall them with Loctite. Just be careful and be mindful of what you're doing, and you shouldn't have any issues. All right, the differential's in. Now I just need to torque down these bolts. I'm gonna torque them down to 90 foot-pounds, and I'm gonna go ahead and install Loctite on them just for good measure. They didn't have Loctite on them from the factory, but it won't hurt. All right, so now that we have the brackets on with the open end facing inward and the Scotidi riding facing outward, axles back in, we're gonna put the rotors back on, put the brake calipers on, and then start running our brake line. All right, so as you can see, we've got all the fancy billet pieces bolted in. We've got the master cylinder attached back here. We've got the Scotidi bracket, the body control module relocated. We've got this handbrake bracket installed. The handbrake is bolted in. It's not tightened down, but bolted in. And now I'm going to proceed to test fitting my dashboard, or my center console. Right, here you can see where I took off material to make room for the handbrake. I used a grinder. I don't recommend using that. I recommend using a Dremel tool. It'd be a lot more precise, a lot more clean, but we didn't have any Dremel blades, so I used what I had. And I took a little bit of material away right there, took some away right there, and then I opened up this, and I opened it up at the top right there. All right, so as far as drilling the holes for your hydraulic brake lines for the handbrake, we've got the main line coming off of the master cylinder from under the carpet right there. And then whenever you remove the rear seat, there's going to be these dimples that are in the seat bracket, and I use those dimples as my reference point as to where I drill my holes at. So on the driver's side, I really should have used this dimple that's farther away from that stud, because I came out right behind the strap for the fuel tank, which it isn't going to be a major problem. I'm just going to have a little bit of a bend in the line, but if I could do it over again, if I could do it from scratch, I would have used this dimple right here as my template, or my reference point. And so I did the same thing on the passenger side. I lined myself up with this dimple closest to the stud on the seat bracket, and I drilled my hole right there below it. And this side came out free and clear right where I wanted it, and this side came out right behind the fuel tank strap. So yeah, use that hole, or use that dimple. What's up, everybody? So we got the dual calipers on here. We got the car pulled outside, and differentials is all back together. Everything's back together, and this thing rides pretty dang good. Just pretty dang good. It does everything good.